Hello, today we'll be doing a quick tech demo of the combat system that we're planning on implementing in Glory. So, the combat system for Glory, which is going to be a PvP arena-based fighting game, is trying to bring the fluidity of 2D fighting games to a 3D first-person arena fighter, okay? And in order to do that, we have added a lot of features into our game that are probably very rare or maybe not even seen in other games before. And that includes a very free-moving weapon attack system. Currently this is only implemented for basic swing attacks, but in the future this will also be added to stab attacks as well, and maybe even some skills, depending on whether or not they require a big startup animation or not. Okay, so what do we mean by a very free-flowing combat system? We mean that you can hold your weapon, whether it be in this case for the battle mage a spear, or a sword, a long sword, or any other weapon, and allow it to move as freely as it can within a certain degree, within a certain range. So this pretty much shows this what it looks like. So how do we do this? Okay, so first of all, if you left click your mouse button and then flick it, then the spear will swing towards the direction that you flicked. Now if you left click and flick the spear to allow it to start moving, and then you left click again really quickly without moving your mouse, then it will slow the spear down. Like that. There's also a few other features in this system. For example, you can swing through the center by pressing shift and then the left mouse button. You can keep on holding shift and pressing the left mouse button over and over and over in order to keep on swinging to the center. As you can see, the center is not exactly on the center of the screen. It is a little bit lower. The reason being is that the full range of movement for your weapon is actually 30 degrees, plus 30 degrees vertically, and then minus 20 degrees vertically. While the movement for the weapon horizontally is plus and minus 50 degrees. Now, this system might feel a little bit unintuitive for some people at first, so I created another system in order to make it a little bit better. It's kind of like a macro builder, that similar to some macro mods that you might see in other games. In the future, this might be the expanded to not only include slashes, but as I said before, stabs and skills as well. Okay, so if you press the M button to go to the menu, you can return and then go to the loadout submenu, and in here select combat presets. You'll see this compass with a few arrows. You can enter the name of the preset here. So, hello preset. And once it's changed, it will be reflected. Now, if you go over here, you can change the direction of the slash that you want to add, and also change the distance of that slash. Remember how I said before that you have 20 degrees, minus 20 degrees, and plus 30 degrees vertical range, and plus minus 50 degrees horizontal range? Well, this distance is also in degrees. So for example, let's say I go 40 degrees here, and then I go, let's say, 20 degrees in this direction, and 20 degrees vertically, and let's see, maybe 10 degrees horizontally again. And that's my hello preset, but it's also considered combat preset 1. So if I return to the game and press my keyboard button 1, this combat preset will play. First of all, let's return the spear to the center, and press 1. And there you go. Let's return it again, and I'll show it again. There's a cue on the right that appears whenever a combat preset is being executed, and the most bottom combat preset will be shown. The most bottom combat preset is the one that's currently being executed. And then once it's done, obviously it disappears, and it's over. Okay. The combat preset system currently does not have collision detection on, so it cannot actually do damage to the enemy character or move the spear. But the basic attacks done normally with the left mouse button click and flick approach that I talked about before can have those effects. For example, let's take the spear and then let's smash it into the other spear. As you can see, there's a hit and there's a deflection. Sometimes you'll get a little bit stuck if you knock into this little tag right here. If you do that, then that also counts as the collision box, so it causes some gimpy behavior sometimes. Also, you can see that if you hit the spear with only a little bit run up distance, it doesn't really move that quickly. And if it's slow enough, it might not even move at all. But now let's say you hit it up with a very fast run up speed. Whoops, that didn't hit it correctly. Now you can see it's moving a lot faster. That's because once you click and drag, your spear actually accelerates, and so once you hit the enemy spear at a faster speed, that faster speed gets transferred to the enemy's weapon. Okay? Now if you hit the enemy body instead of their weapon with your spear, it actually does damage, as you can see. It also stops your spear. There is no knockback in place, but we plan on adding a knockback system that is dependent on the speed of the weapon itself. Because since the system is so free moving, we can actually get the momentum of this spear using the mass and velocity, angular velocity. Using that, we can also generate a force, and using that force, we can use that to calculate the amount of knockback we want to apply. This knockback will also be proportional to the damage. In other words, this 290 that you see right now every time I'm hitting my enemy. Oops, I hit the spear every time. If I hit the enemy, it's doing 290 damage per each basic swing attack. But in the future, this damage value will also be scaled based on the speed at which the spear is when it hits. So what this essentially means is the knockback mechanic is also going to be proportional to the damage dealt, which is something that I find is surprisingly rare in games. I don't think I've actually seen this mechanic actually implemented before. Okay, when we also have a few skills that you can activate. You can do this either when locked on or not locked on. I'll show it when it's not locked on. For example, you have circle swing, which is R, left mouse button. Whoops, a little bit too close right there. Sometimes it's a little bit buggy because the animation sometimes starts within the enemy itself, so it's still using the original damage. But if you use another skill before it, then it will cancel itself out. So as you can see right here, that was another skill, double stab. That's Q and then right mouse button. And that does 43 damage for each of the 2 stabs. Okay? And then we have E, right mouse button, which is another stab attack. As you can start to see a kind of a pattern. The slash attacks all are based off of the left mouse button, while the stab attacks are always based off of the right mouse button. So E right click is a skill called Dragon Tooth, which is supposed to be a stab that stuns your opponent. So as you can see, the damage value changed and the new damage was applied. There's another skill which is a a Sky Strike, which is a stab into the air that causes knockback and launches enemies into the air. As if you look upwards, you can see where it's actually trying to hit. This is actually a very high launching attack. So normally, if you're just looking at their opponent, it's really hard to hit. You have to aim a little bit to the right of them. A little bit. Oops. There's here again. And there you go. That's a hit. Obviously, a lot of these animations are still work in progress, especially circle swing and double stab, or not double stab, sky strike. But that's pretty much it. Those are the skills, the basic attacks, as well as the collision detection between spears. There's a reflection system between the spears and the combat preset system. Thanks for watching.